Between Monday to Friday, what's your favorite part of the day? Sir?
Friday.
Part of the day.
Friday lunch.
Friday lunch. What about you, sir?
4 p.m.
4 p.m. Perfect. So basically, all of you just are looking at the watch so that you can head out as soon as possible. My answer to that question is slightly different. I love that lunch hour where I sit with colleagues and friends and talk about almost anything under the sun. During one of these lunchtime conversations or sessions, we started talking about politics. And immediately I could see a few faces turn. There was an uncomfortable air that consumed all of us. Because people at work just felt really uneasy to disclose their political opinions, especially about matters which are extremely topical and sensitive. One even protested, stating that it's not a good idea to talk about politics at work. It made me think and mull over this episode. If we're not talking about things which are sensitive, if we aren't indulging in respectful discourse about extremely meaningful things that impact us on a day-to-day basis, one, how are we going to be better informed? And second, how are we going to galvanize to actually exact meaningful change? And that led me to thinking about different ways in which one can have such conversations about social issues, political issues, not just at work, but in any setting in a respectful manner that yields more knowledge, potentially more options for us to pursue as a society, and at the same time not hurt anyone's feelings. The first thing that came to my mind is what makes people angry in such conversations. What really ticks them off? It's often disagreement. When someone challenges your view, when someone claims that your view is one that is not valid or should not have been brought to the table in the first place. And that's what stops people from disclosing what their opinion or view is. So a buy-in into accepting everyone's views, maybe not agreeing with it, is the way to go and the first step into being able to have these conversations in a sensitive manner about sensitive things. So for example, if I'm talking about the conflict right now in the Middle East surrounding Israel and Palestine, it has a lot of people divided. Some people claim that the violence that happened on the 9th of October was one which required an extremely powerful reaction, while others feel that the reaction is one which is, well, not balanced, is causing too many civilian casualties. The truth is that when it comes to these subject matters, there's no right or wrong. It's people's viewpoints. What's important is that we find solutions as a race to, in fact, reduce as much human loss as possible. So if someone is presenting a view, irrespective of where their emotions lie or which side that they are championing in terms of the discourse, it's what's important is that we define an objective, wherein the objective of this conversation is to see how we can reduce human loss to the best of our potential, and then present arguments or postulate thoughts around the same, while having this consensus that while we might not agree with the approach, while we might not agree with each other's opinions, at the very least, we are united in the fact that we want to reduce human loss. We want to make sure that it is a better place for everyone to live in. So in doing so, one, you've agreed to disagree, but at the same time, established a common objective or a common consensus that everyone is driving forward towards. So those are two things that I could immediately think over when it came to having conversations which are extremely sensitive about extremely sensitive matters. That's point number one. Second, what about conversations where you want to tell someone you're wrong, or that they're wrong, or that you absolutely disagree with where they're coming from? Again, it's a difficult conversation to have. Sometimes it might be because you feel someone is behaving in a manner which is not appropriate for the environment that they're in. They're not being sensitive to everyone's feelings or everyone's thoughts and beliefs. Most people just silently simmer. They don't necessarily approach that individual or have that tough love conversation with them because they feel that it's not their place to do so, or they fear confrontation. because at the end of the day, it might spark an emotional reaction from this individual. Truth be told, there's no auspicious time to have that conversation. You need to find a time to sit down and tell that individual that you have their best interests in mind. So again, establishing an objective that you have their best interests in mind. And as a consequence, there's some feedback that you want to offer to them, which might or might not be taken lightly, but is one that you feel you must deliver. So one, tell them that it is for their best interest. Second, tell them that they have the ability to disagree or have the ability to see the matter in another light or another way. But at the same time, you do feel that it's meaningful for you to offer that feedback. So let me give you an example. Jokes. Sometimes we find something that is extremely humorous that another individual might not. I've been a victim of that on numerous occasions. Given my nature, I just crack any line that comes to mind without realizing who my audience is. And many a times that might come across as offensive or distasteful to someone. So in a very respectful manner, there have been an opportunity or two where someone has come into my remit and told me, Ani, this is for your best interest. I understand that your intent is not to cause any form of distress or harm, but to sort of generate a laugh. But at the same time, what makes someone tick or what makes someone laugh might be completely different from what you think makes you laugh. And to have that conversation where my best interest is established, I've been given room to disagree, again, makes it a lot more palatable for me to have that conversation. So I felt that there's no better way to deliver a difficult speech, which was completely unprepared, by talking about a very difficult subject, about how difficult subjects can in fact be addressed. So I hope you've taken something away from it. If you haven't, don't worry. As my speech says, you can agree to disagree. So thank you.